I'm waiting for like
BBC.
Either BBC or what we used to do in school, bleep test.
Oh yeah, I love that.
You loved bleep test.
Yeah, I was an athlete. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Girls are very competitive.
I'm so competitive.
It's really bad.
So competitive.
Real bad. Anyways, hi guys.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Panic Room podcast.
Today,
You're with.
you're with. Yeah, you're with.
You're with.
You are tuned into. What was I trying to say? Today, we have a requested episode.
Yeah.
So if you don't follow us on Instagram, you really should, because we enjoy engaging with you lot on there. It's real fun, and I'm always talk about some nonsense, especially last week's episode.
Oh my days, we just went off. I know I went off.
Yeah, it was...
and the week before that. I swear that was I think I was in my feelings. Just so emotive,
yeah, it was a lot.
And the thing is, it's I've been journaling, so why am I so...
Yeah.
But
yeah. Speaking of journaling, what is it? We're going to talk about things in your 20s.
Yes, so they said, how important are your 20s and should you focus on money or dating?
Okay, we're going to split this up because it's a lot. So how important are your 20s? See, now I have two very differing views on life in your 20s. Because on the one hand, I'm who cares?
Yeah.
Live your life. But on the other hand, I'm you're supposed to have everything figured out. By the end of it.
You just set up.
Yes.
So that you're not trying to recover in your 30s?
Yes, from the things and the mistakes and decisions that you made in your 20s. And I think it should be an amalgamation of both of them. I think, to me personally, your 20s should be a time when you're finding yourself.
Agreed. And
what it is that you intend to do.
And what you want to do.
Yeah, afterwards. I don't necessarily think it's a time where everyone's you should have it all figured out. I don't. We don't.
Yeah, no.
I don't think you're gonna.
Yeah, no. I think it just comes to you as you experience things and go about life and grow. Yeah. And you need to go through certain situations in order to come to light or realization about certain things.
Agreed.
So, no, you'll never have it figured out right there and then. And
you shouldn't have to. I don't think it's anything that we should have to have figured out. Also, I was in class today, and my teacher was if university wasn't about money, because the whole they need money, we go to university because we provide them with money and all of these things. If it wasn't about economic gain, then university would be a place where you find yourself, and not you go 3 years, you pick a degree, you finish a degree, and then you go out into a job. It would be a place where you go to find yourself, find your interests, decide to learn in loads of different forms.
I feel like I'm doing that now though. Just ever so slightly.
Slightly?
Just so slightly.
Slightly, but in my mind, what I thought of was imagine university wasn't a place where you go to specialise, and it was just a place that you go to learn.
And not be tested on anything.
Yeah, so even if we are getting tested, it's a place where you go, and it's okay, what is it? It's not a thing where they ask you, okay, what do you want your degree to be about? They just ask you, what classes are you interested in?
Right.
Are you going to take an art class? Are you going to take this class? You want to do a philosophy class? You want to do a science class? All of those, you could do all of that for 3 years, and then the ones that you, by chance, you're going to stumble upon something that you like because you've been able to do everything, and then at some point you're going to be okay, cool, this is the only thing that I want to actually study, and after 3 or 4 years, you'll get to a point where it's you're only studying in this field because that's what you're interested in the most.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Rather than having it all figured out, because I
feel with exams and stuff, it somewhat makes you kind of tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Because it's I'll speak for myself, but it's I will pick a module, and then it's when I'm in the module, I'm so focused on the exam, what's the pass mark and all of that stuff, and that I'm not really, not engaging, because I am interested, but I know that I would be interested more if we didn't have like the whole exams thing. Yes. So I think that's all like my worry and anxiety comes from, is because of the exams.
Is because of the grade, yeah.
Yeah.
Like even we were saying this, that we felt like we've learnt the most about university in our last year.
Yeah.
Compared to like the last 2 years that we've been here. But like even this year when I was picking my modules, I paid way more attention than I did the first 2 years.
Yeah.
I actually looked into like, is it an exam that I have to do at the end of this module? Is it an essay? How much of it is coursework? I looked
at the tutor.
Yeah,
the lecturer,
who it actually is. Am I actually going to enjoy listening to this person speak for like 2 hours every week? Like, am I going to enjoy this? And one thing I found is the lessons that I have now, that I picked this term, none of them have exams. And I feel so much more like eased.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to have time to figure it out. I'm going to have time to do my assignment, do my essay, do all of that stuff without worrying about actually having an exam and what that pass mark is and what then I need to remember for the exam. And even you said like your friend, she'll have an exam in May. Like everything she's learning now, she has an exam in May, like it's A-levels. And that just gives me anxiety just thinking about her having exams in May.
Yeah.
And I'm not even doing it.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, imagine, and I have like secondhand anxiety, and so I just think about what I was actually going through in A-levels, because now it's like like a past memory, but like it's torture. That's torture.
I don't even want to think about it.
It's torture.
Torture and trauma.
Yeah, real life, like pain. From like actual pain from A-levels.
Stress, man. Oh,
yes, pain and stress. But yeah, so because we digressed, going back to the point, if a university was a place where like you could just go and learn and study, it'd be a place where you find yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like we would come out way more understanding of ourselves and where it is that we actually want to go, compared to how society is now. Like, you just go to uni and you learn to go into a job, and then that job is where you do for the rest of your life, and then you have a career. Like, I just think we're too young. Like, I'm too young.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, I don't think I'm at that place yet where it's like, I know what I want to do the rest of my life. There are some people who do.
Well, the thing is, I kind of give myself grace with regards to that, because I just don't see myself being in one field of work. I see myself doing
loads of things.
Loads of different things. You know? So if I end up in like advertising or something, and then I'm like, oh, I want to be a lawyer or a solicitor, and I learn law and stuff. Like, I can see that for me.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Yeah. I think the problem is, it's just this narrative of like, you need to pick one thing and stay with that one thing, and it's like, no, you actually don't. You don't have to stay with that one thing.
Yeah. And then because we have that in education, we internalize it to ourselves. Like, we have to have ourselves figured out and who we are as people figured out, and we have to have what we want to do figured out, that you make it a whole, like, individualistic experience, when it's like, it's not. Even if you do know exactly what you want to do for a career, and you know exactly the field that you want to go into, and you're studying that now, and you're getting your job in that, you might still have a midlife crisis. You might still have a quarter life crisis, because you're not actually comfortable in who you are as a person, which is absolutely fine. You can know exactly what career you want to go in, and education wise, but personally, there's a whole different side of like who you're going to be, and you can change that like every single day. Like, that's absolutely fine. Like, there's no issues with that. And I feel like we need to make that okay for our 20s as well. It's not a time where you're going to know who you are 90% of the time, because 90% of the time you're not going to know who you are. It's like it's like just living in motion.
Well, every day's a surprise.
Yeah, no, facts.
No.
Facts. Like, every day is a surprise. But I did hear a girl say that your 30s are you making up for the mistakes that you made when you were 20s. She said your 20s are like your post-teens, or you're still a teen. Because she said, in this sense, like, where do you start thinking you're an adult? We stop taking care of ourselves. She's like, when was the last time you went to a dentist appointment? You're 23. Have you been to a dentist appointment? Did you go to the doctors? Did you get a checkup? Have you been actually taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And most of us are like, no, when was I not doing that? Don't need to do that. I'm an adult now.
Or you think mum's booked it.
Yeah, mum's not booked those things no more. Like, you gotta order your own prescription. You gotta pay prescriptions. Actually, at this point, like, it's nasty out here. And so we don't think about those things. We don't think about that.
Yeah.
And then when you get into your 30s, it's like, oh, your teeth are decaying. Oh, you might have health problems. And all these things because you lived your 20s not actually thinking about those things. Mm-hmm. So as much as like it is a time period where learn about yourself and do all of this, there are responsibilities I don't like.
But you have to do it nonetheless.
Yeah, regardless. We do. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to understand that we are turning into adults.
Yep.
I wouldn't say
it means we're being accountable for our life.
yeah. Like we are getting to that point where like you have to be accountable for yourself and what that is going to mean for the future. Not that you have to have all the future planned out, but like I want to be healthy in my 30s. I don't want to be questioning the things that I did in my 20s. I don't want to drink like Mount Everest. Like I don't want to do that. And then in my 30s be worrying about my liver. Like, that's just not something that I want to do.
Yeah.
Even though I might not know who I am as a person, I know I don't want to be sick. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. So those things I have to stay on top of. And I have to have at least a goal for my health.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Because even that was hard. Like, I had to ask my mum how to go back. Like, so I'm just paying for my prescriptions now. Like, that's just what we're doing. Or, like... Is there a form that I have to fill out? Like, it's confusing. You call the doctors and they're like, oh, yeah, so you're going to come in? I'm like, yeah, like, no, I do this myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm responsible for myself.
Actually, sometimes I ask my mum, I was like, what do I say?
Yeah, how do I have this conversation?
Yeah. How do I speak?
Yeah, how do I speak? What do I, you know? Do I have to give my date of birth? Do I need a passport? What do I need? Like, yeah, no.
Even then when they ask questions, I need a second to think.
They're like your birthday in numbers and not like, you know, like you have to say like 13th of the 3rd.
Yeah.
I'm like March 13th. And they're like, so 3rd. I'm like, yeah. Even stuff like that. Like I'm just not used to it. Oh, and now it's like, okay, well I'm an adult. And like now as well, it's like stupid stuff. But now sometimes, people ask me to do my signature and I do it. And I'm like...
I've changed my signature so many times.
I had a real dumb signature when I was young.
Oh, yeah.
And now, like, it's on legal papers. And that's just it now. Like, that's just my signature. Like, it's just not going to be changed. And I remember having a conversation with my dad. My dad has 2 signatures. And he's like, that's why. Because when I was younger, I made a dumb one. And then I got older and like defined my signature and stuff. I started doing adult things, and now I have 2 like old papers and stuff that he has that he did when in his 20s have his old signature on it. And so like sometimes he goes to the bank and he has to ask them which signature's on the papers because he doesn't remember. Like these are things we don't think about. Like we don't think about the consequence.
I barely remember my passwords to things. So. Anyway, Charles.
But yeah, no. As much as we are in a place where we don't have to know everything, we don't have to understand who we're going to be and where we're going to go. We have to start taking responsibility for ourselves. We do.
Yeah.
And going into that, I personally don't like. Yes, I'm a complete hypocrite in this subject, but I personally don't think. If I don't know where I'm going with myself, that I can't have someone then attached to me.
No. Agreed. And agreed.
Like I'll happily say I'm the biggest hypocrite on this topic, but I just don't. I don't know where I'm gonna be at any time. Like next month, I might just change my mind and decide that I'm not knowing what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Like even when we was coming from a lecture the other day, our friend was telling us that he's going wherever his job is essentially. Yeah. Like he wouldn't mind moving out of the country and doing all that stuff.
But if you're tied to someone,
how are you gonna do that?
Yeah, no, for real.
if you do end up getting a real good job when you finish uni, which isn't the case for a lot of people, but if that is the case and you are lucky enough to do that, but the job is in Canada, and you're in a relationship, what's going to happen?
Exactly. Like, and the thing is, I'm not to be rude, but like, that relationship can't hold you back.
And it shouldn't.
Yeah.
It actually shouldn't.
No.
Because I've always said this, and to get like a little personal, I've always said that I don't want to ever be in a situation where I am the one holding
someone back. Yeah, no, same. Yeah, facts.
Like, I would never, like, I don't want to be, regardless of whether we're together for the rest of our lives and we have loads of kids, I don't want to be a person's reason for why they didn't do something. Like, I'm not about to be in my 50s saying, I wish I could have, what if I went here, what if I did this, and the only reason I didn't was because I was with a partner, or I was with someone, or my family. Like, that's not...
It's not... No.
It's just not what we want. Like, I want to be able to...
do things freely.
Yeah.
You know?
But also, say that I did stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say that I did stuff. You know, like, I want to get to a point where it's like, no, I did this. And 1 year we went here and we traveled the world and I saw this and I saw that. And then when you're in your 20s, you could do, like, that's what I want to be able to say and experience. Not like, I didn't do anything. I stayed in England my whole life. Like, that's just never going to be, it's not going to be me anyway. I know that's not going to be me. But I feel like we put too much emphasis on dating and relationships.
We really do. We really do. And I'm not even... like, they're not really anything.
No, they're not. They're learning experiences. That's what I would say right now.
Yeah.
They're learning experiences. Nothing more, nothing less. They're learning experiences.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to be the case until I'm ready to get married.
My baby is just going. But you ain't. I know. I've got apple in my bag. It's fine. Oh, gosh.
Probably the jalapenos.
It probably is. Anyway, ciao. What was you talking about?
We're putting too much emphasis on relationships.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we do. We put way, like...
too much. Way too much. But I think it depends on the person, really. Because if you're that person, like... you know, there's just some people who overextend themselves in relationships. Like, I'll talk from experience. Like, sometimes I've invested more into that relationship than I haven't got a balance, really. So it's like...
you've put your all into the relationship.
Exactly. And then it's like, when the relationship isn't there anymore, it takes me a minute to, like, get back to how I was.
Yes. But...
which is a learning experience, because, like, I know now, hopefully for my next relationship, that it's basically that whole secure attachment style thing.
Okay, but then is it then the dating isn't bad then, is it? What's bad is
how you're doing the dating?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or how much emphasis we put on it. The dating isn't necessarily bad, because what we're saying is it's a learning experience. And if you weren't in one, you wouldn't have known that that's what you do. And do you get what I mean? Unless you was in one.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know, like, what you can and can't do unless you're in one, or unless you are dating, unless you do find that information out from the people that you're with and the partners that you have.
Yeah. So
it's not that it's a bad thing to do. It just shouldn't be as structured, maybe. Like, I don't think... well, it depends on the person, but, like, I don't think I'm at the place to be looking for my husband.
No, nor am I. Like, I'm not... I swear down, if God was to come, like, to the edge of my bed and to tell me, this is your husband, will you marry him tomorrow? I'd say no.
Yeah, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for myself, let alone for him.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not... I'm not there yet.
Agreed.
I'm happy for the journey that I'm on, but I'm not at finished product. Does that make sense?
Right.
So, yes, I feel like the dating isn't bad. I take that back. It's not that the dating is bad. It's that how much time we think that we should be spending on that and what it is that we're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think relationships, because I think we need to go back to it being like you're dating someone. Like dating before relationship.
So, like going on dates and speaking, talking stage?
Talking stage. What we would class as a talking stage.
Yeah.
I think that's
getting to know each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we should do more of that.
Rather
than like...
building friendships.
Yeah.
In hopes of finding your soulmate.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like, meeting people.
Yeah.
Making connections.
Because it's just like, I feel like some of us, like, we be moving like we're in a rush, and it's like, there really isn't a rush.
There's no rush.
You know?
But we're going to be doing that from now for the next 10 years.
No.
Because that just speeds, it just...
But it's hard though, because it's like, say for example, you're talking to someone, and you really, really like them to the point you can't be asked to talk to anyone else. Like, what do you do then?
See where it goes, I guess. But you just can't be mad at the result.
Yeah.
Like, if that relationship fails, you can't be mad that it did.
No.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, we're young.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be at the stage where I break up with someone at 20 and be like, oh my god, I wasted so much time. Like, I'm 20. Like, it's really... I feel like I wasted so much time, but I didn't. Like, we genuinely...
Yeah, no, when you look back on it, you'll be like, oh no, it wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah.
In the moment, it feels like a waste of time.
Yeah, but it's
But,
not.
like, we ain't going nowhere. So
yeah. Like, if I was with someone from 20 until 30 and we broke up at 30, I'd be pissed.
Oh.
See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's wasting time. Because that whole period where I was finding myself and not understanding who I was, I was doing it with that person. And then when I do feel like I'm at a stage where I know myself, then you want to break up. No, you're just taking the piss.
Yeah. But you know what I was thinking? I was thinking about this earlier, and I had watched a YouTube video, and the girl was saying, like, how it's really important that we have a relationship with ourselves prior to getting into a relationship with someone, because it's like, say for example, I meet my husband at 30, right? And say my lifespan, I die at 90. So I've been with him since I was 30, and I die at 90. That's 60 years. But like that 10-year period from 20 to 30 was the relationship I had with myself. I've spent more of my life with someone than I have by myself. So could you imagine being with someone, like you don't know yourself at 20 yet, and you're with someone at 20, and then you guys go on.
But then I don't think that I feel like what she's saying in that is that she's broken up with herself when she's found her partner. And I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah. But it makes sense, though, because there are people who can't be by themselves.
Yeah, but then you never had a relationship with yourself.
What do you mean?
If you can't be by yourself, you never had a relationship with yourself.
Yeah. So if you're in a relationship by yourself for a good period, it's not like you've ended the relationship with yourself. Of course not. But, like, I feel like it's better to spend a lot of time with yourself, and you're used to being with yourself, and then you get with someone, then you not being used to yourself completely.
Yeah.
And then you're like codependent. No,
agreed. But I'm saying that still doesn't stop when you're in a relationship. Like.
Yeah, but how would you know the difference if you haven't spent time with yourself?
Because you can spend time with yourself while still being in a relationship. Like, for example, right? I think the only reason that, like, I would say I'm happy, it's not the only reason, but, like, one of the reasons I'd say I'm happy to be in a relationship in my 20s is because I'm not with that person constantly.
You have space.
So I'm still in a relationship with myself.
Yeah.
Even while being in a relationship with him. So the sense of the word is like, I'm at even physical distance.
Yeah.
I'm at uni. He's in London. I have to have some sense of understanding and knowing of myself to be able to be here by myself, even though I still am in a relationship, right? And space has made that the case. Even like when we was in secondary school and stuff like that, we weren't in the same secondary school, none of those things. And now, even if it was a situation where I'm not at a stage where it's like, if I then decided when I finished uni and I went and got a job away for 6 months, I wouldn't feel scared to know that, oh my God, I'm going to be, like, I wouldn't feel any type of way about leaving. I would leave and I'd still be sad, but I would leave and be fine, knowing that my relationship is going to be fine because I have a relationship with myself and I have a healthy relationship with myself and therefore my relationship will still be fine. Does that make sense? But if it was a situation where between the ages of 16 to now, we've been everywhere together, then I don't even know myself.
Exactly.
And that's a problem.
It is a problem.
Yeah.
But I feel like your case is different because you're very self-aware. There's people who don't have any form of, like, self-awareness and are in relationships.
Yes. But that's what you're saying. You have to have a stage where you are by yourself and you do have a relationship with yourself. And I feel like...
And that's what I'm saying, like, with that whole relationship by yourself, it can bring out the self-awareness.
Yes. Yes. Because I was watching an old couple have a conversation, right? And they said, she said, there will be a stage, if you're together from, a young, or even just for a really long time. Yeah. If you're together for more than 5 or 10 years, there will be a stage where both of you are changing. Because what we do as humans. Yeah. So... But you're might be changing at different paces and at different times. And if you don't have a relationship with yourself, essentially, she used different words. If you don't have a relationship with yourself, you will not be able to weather the storm of your partner changing.
You will end up outgrowing each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was saying that there was a stage where she was changing in herself, and he couldn't do anything. He just had to be there for her, and like see her basically at the end of the tunnel. Like, that's all he could do. Yeah. Like, that was it. Like, they had a stage where it was just, like, she was changing, she was dealing with herself, she was finding herself, finding who she wanted to be and go forward in. And it just so happened to be that when she came out of that tunnel, she still wanted to be with him.
Oh, that's sweet.
And same thing with him. When he started doing all of that, and I think he lost a lot of weight when he went through what he was going through. Yeah. And he was like, no, she lost it. Like, she hit the roof at one point.
What, because he lost weight?
She was confused. She didn't know what was happening with him. Right? So she was like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, all of this is it's changed. It's scary to people, right? And so that's what happened. He changed a lot. He lost a lot of weight. And she just had to understand that she had to just say, I'm there supportively, even though a lot was happening at the time. And they just so happened to come out of that and still want to be together. But there might be a case where you come out of that and you don't want to be together. Yeah. And that's okay too. You know, but those things happen. You know, and especially if you're together over a decade, like, you're not supposed to be the same for 10, 20, 30 years. Like, that's just never going to be the case. Exactly. You know? And people change. Even if we're not talking about physical... Even if we're not talking about, like, them having self-awareness, just physically they will change. Yes. Like, you'll go through a stage where they now have kids. Your woman is going to change because now she's a mum. So you've been with her when she was a girlfriend. She's no longer a girlfriend. Now she's a wife. And then she's a mum. So you're seeing all these different parts of her as a woman. Yeah. She's changed, right? Same thing with men. They go from being a boyfriend to a husband, and whatever they think a husband is, to a dad. Yeah. We just have stages in our lives that we change and whatever. Yeah. It doesn't have to be in that order. It might be opposite. But those things you change, so you have to understand that people are changing. That's okay too. And like, you can't put so much emphasis on that when you're in your 20s. No.
We're not even built for that.
We're not. And I think also with that, we have to understand that emotionally we're not always ready to be there for someone else.
Yes. Agreed.
We're not. Like, we just explained that there's still points where we can't even call the doctors for ourselves.
Sorry guys, the camera died, so let's wait for it to charge.
Camera's gonna be dying on us.
Oh, I'm sad. I'm sorry. That was just in my head.
We was having an in-depth conversation while the camera was off. Oh my god.
I blame Yasmin. She said it.
No, you know what? Yeah, you have like a really good memory full of memes.
Yeah,
and they just come out all the fucking time. So sometimes after we have a conversation, I'll be walking around with this meme stuck in my head, but it's like 4 months old. It's really bad. So yes, no. Boy. Anyway,
we were talking about being emotionally supportive of our partners.
But we can't be emotionally supportive of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So I personally don't think. You know what? We just got too much trauma.
At this rate,
we just got too much trauma. And I personally don't think, like, in my 20s. Okay, let me remove it from myself because, like, I'm kind of doing it. But I don't think that most people in their 20s are in a place where they can be emotionally supportive to another person.
Yeah, agreed.
When we can't even emotionally support ourselves. Because it is a lot. Like, it's a lot. Like, there are times where, like we was just saying off camera, like, we're doing education ourselves, we're feeding ourselves, we're taking care of ourselves, all of that stuff, emotionally supporting ourselves, and then if you have someone connected to you, you're also emotionally supporting them and making sure they're okay and their needs are fine and all that stuff. And I don't think those are the conversations that we have a lot of the time. I can't remember before we was having we was in the other studio, but we was talking about how building in a relationship is not just fun and games. Like, we talk about it like it's this thing that everybody wants
to strive for,
but it's not meant for everybody. Everyone is not supposed to be building in a relationship, and it's okay to want to have everything figured out before you get to the point where you are in a relationship. Like, that is fine, that's okay. You know. But then again, like, my friend has a podcast and he was explaining that they were saying whether or not they want girls, like, if they're ready to settle down now or after they've made their businesses and all that stuff.
They should settle down after.
But some of them were saying, if you settle down after, how do you know the woman that you're with is there for the right reasons?
Oh. You won't know.
You will never know.
I'm sorry. Like, you actually won't know.
But that's really sad. Like, no, but, like, sometimes I fully do understand.
No, I get it. No, because men are judged, like, based on what they can provide.
Yeah. So if you are at that stage as a man who does want to wait until you've made your business, made your empire and all that stuff, then do that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it might just be a little bit harder for you to settle down. Because a lot of girls like money. You know? So it's hard. Like, I don't know whether or not to tell you lot. Also, I am not like 27, 28, like leaving my 20s. I'm just going into my 20s.
Right.
We're just going into our 20s. So we can't tell you what the fuck to do with your 20s. But, like, it's subjective.
But this is the thing, right? It's like, it's a catch-22 situation with them. Because it's like, would you want to be in a relationship knowing that you haven't got the finances to fund a relationship and that's causing you frustration? Or be in a situation where, you have the finances, but it's now you're just worried about whether she's with you for the right reasons?
The first one.
I don't think a lot of men would want to be in the first one.
I would want to be in the first one. You know why?
Why?
Me as a woman, I'm not really too fussed about money.
Yeah.
I've always had my own money.
Yeah.
Enjoy having my own money. So if I was with a man who was building, which I am, like, it would never be an issue whether or not either of us have money at that point, because that's not what the relationship is built on. Does that make sense? It is not. We're not at this stage where I need you to have money.
Oh yeah, no, facts.
Right? Whereas
I need to have money.
Yeah, no, I need to have money. Like, no, but that's it. Like, that's all for right now, right? However, if I was 28, 30, 32, we're at a point where I need you to also have money.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at buying a house, settling down, having kids. I need you to also have money. And that's going to cause a quicker problem than if we was at a place where we already understood each other and then the money was just the side effect.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But for a lot of people, this, you know, it just depends. It's just it's subjective.
It is very subjective. Yeah, because then it depends. Like you said, it depends. Like that would go back if he was frustrated by that or insecure by that. That's because he's assigned his self-worth onto how much money he has.
He has, yeah, and that's not my problem.
Facts.
It's really not. Like, no. It's not. Like, it has nothing to do
It's not your problem, but
it does affect me.
It will affect you, and he will probably somehow take that out on you, potentially.
Yeah.
That's not always... We know how bad that can get.
Yeah. Because I have been in situations where... I have been in situations where boys feel like we can't have a conversation because they're not in a place where they can take me out.
Oh, right.
And I understand, but I didn't ask that. I never asked that of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm a very sentimental person. Like, for me, take me on a picnic.
Yeah.
Take me to the movies.
Yeah.
Like, I like that stuff.
Small, cute things.
Do you get what I mean?
Things,
if it's Christmas, take me to go see the lights. Like,
write me something. Write me a poem. An
apology.
Hello.
Like, that's... For me, that... I like that more than anything else that you could do. Mm-hmm. Remember, like, my favourite chocolate and bring that to me when you see me. Like, those are the things that make me happy, right? So I was never like that. But I've been in situations where that's the case. They don't want to do that because... they feel like they don't have the funds to, which I fully understand.
Yeah.
But that would have never stopped us from having
a relationship. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, no, facts.
You know? Not at this time, but maybe like 20 years from now, it wouldn't be like that.
With us, like, our feelings aren't based on what you have, it's who you are.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, agreed.
100%. And it's how you act with what you have as well.
Yes. You
don't have to have a lot to be an amazing person.
Yeah, no.
You know? I've met people with a lot of money and they're shit people.
Oh, they're horrible. Some of them I can't even have a conversation with because they make me feel sick.
They're horrible people.
There's no form of humility, no humbleness. Just, I've got money so I can treat you anyhow.
Yeah.
Excuse you?
No, not me.
Innit?
Because I will happily not go on the date. I'll happily not speak to you ever again. Like, we're fine. It's fine. Like, it's absolutely fine. I'll go about business.
I will emasculate you.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't try me.
And I'm already, like, a real rude person.
Oh, my God.
You don't want me to put you in your place, babe. That's just not what you want from me. It's just not what we're going to do. But,
and we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But